All right, welcome back to today's episode of YYC Business Speaks. Today we have Ralph Gonzalez, and he is the owner or co-owner of Parallel Creative Co. So we're just going to get right into it with the questions with Ralph. Hey, Ralph.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for jumping on and being willing to share your business expertise. Tell us a bit about your business.
So at Parallel Creative Co., we create strategic videos that drive results for business owners, whether that comes from evergreen marketing strategies all the way up to social ads. And really at the end of the day, we have a focus all about kind of results and what those results mean for the company, because everybody's going to be looking for different things. Everyone's at a different business phase. And what we want to do is pair it with the right video that actually drives results to said goals.
Yeah. Tell me why videos are so important in today's marketing age.
So videos is a incredibly important format right now. This is kind of like a real precipice in age, because we are right now in the golden age of content is the best way I love to describe this. And being in the golden age of content, not like information has never been traded any faster. The creation of content hasn't been traded any faster. And this like ethereal version, like this digital version that we're all curating and creating, is now actually translating into real world results. And so this is kind of the interesting place to be in right now for our business, but also for other business owners. That's just this past year in 2019, 2020, and 2021. Business owners have seen the effect of like not having a digital presence means, because when things like shutdowns, lockdowns, restrictions, all of that stuff on your business, it becomes so much harder to start from square one, where you don't have that audience, you don't have those systems built in place. And at the end of the day, knock on wood, anyone on that business side is left unable to continue on some of the tasks. It makes it so much harder to continue. So that's why video has just been a very interesting place to be in, because now you're looking at educational resources, you're looking at training guides and how-to guides to get everybody onto the same page. You're looking at screening and checking for the leads, seeing if they're the right fit. So having your frequently asked questions ready to go. So at the end of the day, video has just become this integral part of how all of us communicate now.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes a difference to see someone actually moving and in their element, right? As opposed to just a still photo of them.
Yeah, and it's that ability to be able to communicate and show the effect that someone's business has on the overall picture of who they serve. We're in an age where information is prevalent, and not to kind of get political here, but we're in an age of trust and relationships. And right now, earning trust is a huge factor. It's a huge thing. And at this point in time, if you're not putting trust out there, you're not exposing your business, yourself really to your audience and even to your clients, like giving them a look behind the screen, what you're doing for other companies, other business owners. It doesn't build that authority, that legitimacy, that trust in the relationship for them to want to continue that business with you moving forward.
Yeah, that makes sense. So when you say the results that business owners are looking for and different business owners are looking for different results, what are some examples of the results that different business owners are looking for?
So some results that business owners are looking for is like some people, they have no trouble finding leads. Like their business is super attractive. It comes at a very nice, a nice price range. And at the end of the day, the offers that they're offering out there is something that people genuinely want to bite on. But the hard thing about what they're doing is, well, are they setting the right expectation? Because in the end of the day, you could be getting as many leads as possible, but not if nobody is set to the same set of expectations of what you can deliver and what you're delivering, then you're going to be left with a giant bottleneck of having to deal with customer complaints, having to deal with, my staff, John, might have said this, but as the manager, this is actually something we are not able to provide. And so it becomes that, that area where it's, the relationship where the expectation isn't set. And so there's that one aspect of it there as a set of results where, you need to build a culture, you need to build a unified message, and you need to get everybody trained the same way. And that's the hard part, is that especially in business, people have played the game telephone as a kid, right? Where, you can say, purple monkey butt one side and ends up being, blue telephone on the other end.
Yeah.
So, that game is such a huge, almost like this huge representation of how important it is for one set communication to be sent to everybody at the same time, or for everybody to go through that same process and almost like creating a system that people can go through. So that's just one example of a, message and culture result. Another result is that some people need to put an offer out there and they need leads, and those leads need to offer more opportunities for their business, so that way they can actually have a higher gross revenue at the end of the month. So that's just a very straightforward way of doing it, of creating a video ad and putting that in front of other business, business owners, or even the clients that they're looking to work with. So there's plenty of results out there. It's just, everything from, culture, leader management, to training, to finances, to operations. All of those are their own individual systems. They have some sort of feedback loop. And with that feedback loop, there needs to be a way for people to be able to track, monitor, and be able to input any kind of ways that they can improve it. So, at that point, you can see video playing a role, because it's meant to not only inform, show and tell, educate, but from a business standpoint, it's a great way to clone a business owner. So that way a business owner can have more relationship touch points if a lot of the business revolves around them. And, they're kind of having to be the champion of the business, saying, hey, this is what you can expect from us in our next steps, moving forward, what to look out for. And at the end of the day, take a look that these are going to be coming into your emails in the next 72 hours. It takes away that repetitive tasks that business owners hate. And at the end of the day, could lead to potential human errors. So if you automated a system, had a video in place with them in there, and then have that be that first touch point that's just automated anytime somebody buys into your product or service, you're already buying yourself more time to do other things.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, from a business coaching perspective, it's we teach business owners to put systems in place, and then on top of that, track and measure their results from it, right? So when you have a video going, it's just a lot easier to create that system and make sure the message is consistent across the whole way.
Yeah, it's nailing that first impression every time, because the one thing about us is that we can't control our environment. Us personally, we can't control the variables that affect us throughout the day. But with video, we just have to make sure that we're putting our best foot forward, we have the solid intention, we have a solid message, and then that's going to be what's going to be on repeat for our clients and customers, and that's going to be the first impression they'll always get with us.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, when you started your business, what did you think being successful at it was going to look like?
What being successful looked like for us was really, at the end of the day, getting our video seen. So both my business partner and I, we started off as freelancers first, and that means that we usually tagged along on productions and play a specific role as a videographer, or as just working with them to create a singular piece of content. And the biggest kind of heartbreak for both of us was when we both worked together on a single project and the client didn't end up using it because they just didn't know how. And that is prevalent in the entire industry. Yeah. The reason why I say that is because you have these business owners who think that, the mark of a good video comes from the cost of the camera, or, the cost of the production. And at the end of the day, if you're making a multi-million-dollar budget movie, potentially, but we've seen beautiful movies with really bad scripts. So, in this case and scenario, both Lisa and I started off with Parallel Creative Co. as a whole to really be this strategic approach in making videos. Because yes, videos themselves should be an actual investment and not a nice to have. It's not an easy thing for people to invest into, because at the end of the day, they sometimes get overwhelmed with what they need to do. They get overwhelmed with the price of equipment. And at the end of the day, like they just think of like, this shot needs to be there. This needs to look pretty. This needs to look beautiful. But when the question's asked, what is this meant to do for your business? That's often left unspoken, unheard. And when people are given just an asset and they post it once, was that good money spent?
Right. So what's success look like now for you in your business?
Success now has really evolved from videos being seen to actually building proper systems. Because at the end of the day, like we have clients who have systems already integrated and us inputting videos on there. But the one thing that we're kind of looking more into now is that we're looking to have a client, really just have systems built from the ground up, and then having those be like the driving factors. Because, whether it be financial monetary gain, time gain, energy gain, some sort of positive net worth or balance back into the business, that is success to us. Because if we see a business owner who is investing 80 hours a week in their business and they're missing out time with their friends, their families, and at the end of the day, not being able to actually have that ability to be there for them, and they just need to leave that time, then that's where we want to step in.
Yeah.
Apologies, one of my earbuds just went down, so I'm just gonna pop it back in here.
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like oftentimes because business owners get into business because they want the lifestyle that they want to live, but then oftentimes the lifestyle gets given up for them to be able to serve the business as opposed to the business serving the lifestyle. So I think that's so great. So they say smart people learn from their own mistakes, but wise people learn from the mistakes of others. So what's one or two mistakes that you and Lisa have made along the way that other business owners can learn from?
Some of the mistakes that we've really kind of come across was, I would say this like from a very unique perspective, because it's hard to say this because not everyone's going to be put into the same situation. That's the big thing, right? And so for us, it's really don't take all the clients you can get. You are not meant for that. You're not built for that. And you're only supposed to serve the clients that are most conducive to your business. You have to see it from two sides. It's not we're willing to take on anybody because we're meant for everybody. There's two sides of that relationship. Just like in dating, you have to make sure that they are just, as ready as you are, as they are for you. Because for us, if you were to work with a company, and in our scenario, working with a startup, a really fresh startup who didn't have systems in place, who was a 2-person operation to start with. But then once the video and the production started working, they started adding more team members. They started altering their message at the same time. And so that scope got away from us. It's because we didn't get a chance to really vet them through if they're, if that's what they're set on. And because they were, adding in more team members, adjusting their scope, at the end of the day, the final product wasn't happy for either parties. We didn't feel happy with the final product because we felt that it didn't really speak on their behalf. And on their end, it didn't really fulfill their need because they were still confused as to, what the message of the video really was. So at the end of the day, it's kind of the two sides where it's like, can the business handle what you're giving them? And are they in the right place to do it? It's the same thing with like business courses or courses in general. Do you have the skill sets to actually drive the results that the course is trying to yield?
Yeah, that's so true. That's such a good point.
Yeah, I would say that would be my biggest thing.
Yeah. I mean, that could be said for any business for sure, right? There's certain customers or clients that are like your A-grade customers and certain customers that are really not and will just complain or say something about your business that wouldn't be conducive for moving forward.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a great lesson. Okay, Ralph, where can people find you?
You can find us on our website, parallelcreativeco.com, but you can also find us on our Instagram, our LinkedIn. The big thing about, I would say, what people can do to find us is honestly like pay attention to our socials. At the end of the day, we do share videos that have value in it. One of my favorite topics that I actually got to write on was the importance of storytelling in a business. It's fascinating because one of the experiments I reference in that is called the insignificant object experiment. And so with the insignificant object experiment, it became where two researchers bought these almost like figurines, like what you would expect in your grandma's cupboard, like these tchotchkes for like $1.25 at like thrift stores and at garage sales and stuff like that. And they bought a whole bunch of items averaging out to $1.25 each. Mm-hmm. And what they did was they paired each object with a story. So they hired a writer. The writer was to write something about each individual objects. And on average, each of those objects sold for $32 and I think like 58 cents. So there's a 30-time multiplier that's correlated to storytelling and objects. So in the end of the day, if anybody's looking towards the idea of storytelling as a way to add value and to further create, a better experience for your clients, then that experiment is a huge sign that focusing on what you say about a specific product or item has a major effect on how people value it. And there are items that have been sold for like $175 that was bought for like $1.25.
Wow, that's awesome. Did you send me that article or?
Yes, that article is actually, I posted it up in our BNI group. So it was there when I did a little speech on it, but it's just Google significant object experiment and it's there.
Okay, cool. I'm going to just link that on the show notes for this interview as well for anyone else that wants to check that out. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. I actually didn't ask you this before we started this, so you may have a no answer, but is there anything that you'd like to offer?
To offer right now, at this point, I would be more along the lines of I would love to talk to business owners who are even just considering the fact of doing any kind of video work in general. The big thing about all of this is that there are some people who are ready and some people who aren't. Yeah. And before making that big investment, just like, let's just have a conversation, because at the end of the day, we want you to pair up with the right people. Yeah. And one of the important things is strategy. So if you have a framework in place, you have a goal in mind, and you have something to track it all, that's the important thing. In our line of work, we say it's 80% the strategy and planning and 20% the actual shooting. Yeah. That's how our business operates. That's how we work with our clients. And that's how we see any kind of investment in video should be, is don't pay for the camera, pay for the plan.
Right. Yeah. So they can message you on Instagram or they can message you on your website if they'd like to have a conversation.
Exactly. Yeah. Message us through our Instagram, through our website, because then that way we can at least get to know them.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, one last question for you. Tell me what's most inspiring to you today.
It's actually pretty fascinating. Before this conversation, we actually had a conversation with a specific coach for videographers. He runs an agency where it's helping videographers as a whole actually create a scalable business. And that's the one thing that is fascinating to me. And what's inspired me is you realize how much you actually don't know. And that's what's exciting, because in the end of the day, as much as all of these strategies and videos and all of this is out there and available to use and create, the one side of it all is that there are people out there who are specifically tailored to your niche. Mm-hmm. And that's what, for me is kind of pushes me forward, is that there are people out there who will keep you accountable. There are people out there who will push you forward. And at the end of the day, as someone who is as hyper competitive as I am, that is the thing that, kind of lights me in the butt, is this idea of, okay, someone's going to call me out and I want that. And for me, it's the same thing with my clients. If, you're kind of being attracted to some sort of shiny object syndrome, saying, I want to make this now and I want to make that now, I'm like, what's the plan behind that? Do you understand where that's going to lead and go? What's the plan of how we're going to use that? Because I'm not trying to be a jerk. Mm-hmm. What I'm trying to be is like, I want to be that accountable friend where it's like, hey, before you have like before you have that drink and you told me you're, limiting your drinks for the night, I'm going to be asking you, like, hey, like you told me this earlier in this evening. Yeah. Are you going to keep it? Oh, we'll see. You gave me the responsibility, you gave me the trust. So I'm going to make sure that I honor it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that you're consistently on the personal development train and like bettering yourself and serving your customers and your clients more and more as you get to grow yourself. That's so important.
It's a majority of this business, and I think any business in general or any owner in general, you should be working on yourself as much as you're working on your business. And that's the one thing that I've learned time and time again from my various mentors, coaches, and colleagues, is that the ones who really know how to like have a grasp of their own head helps them stay calm, cool, collected, and be able to tackle on some of the bigger tasks. Because in the end of the day, like it's going to be your business, and your business, your value, all of that is going to hinge on you. So if you're not taking care of yourself and how you're able to make ends meet, to be able to, take care of your family, like whatever reason you're doing this, how are you actually keeping yourself accountable when there's nobody else there to take responsibility other than yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. There are no wiser ways to end this podcast.
Thank you.
So thank you for joining us today, Ralph. Thanks for sharing your expertise. Anything else before we complete here?
No, that's been pretty much everything on my mind. So I appreciate the time that, you've shared with me and asking me these questions. It's been great to kind of reflect on my journey thus far. And at the end of the day, it's, we're all in this together as business owners. As much as we all like to think that there's some sort of competition in the market, it's more along the lines of, you don't want everybody in the market. You want the select few who get you. And that's what, we're all working for. And so at the end of the day, make friends, make partners, grow your business and building those relationships.
Yeah. The abundance mindset, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ralph.
Okay.
We'll see you later.
Bye.